Hey everybody, Rob Williams, Generation X-Wing podcast. Happy New Year. It is 2025 and this is the 10th year of the Generation X-Wing podcast. And what better way to celebrate than have a fantastic interview with a fantastic person, Marti Matulis. Marti Matulis is a character actor who does a lot of prosthetic work, and you may know him best as Vane the Bounty Hunter in the recent Skeleton Crew series as well as the Mandalorian series. Steve 3 and myself were lucky enough to interview him for the 501st Legion telethon back in December, Holiday of Hope. They allowed us to use the video and audio for this interview for our own podcast. So we thought it'd be right to share links to donating to the Starlight Foundation, and you'll see that in the bottom of the screen as you're watching this on video. So hit the QR code if you want to donate to Starlight Foundation. And if you're listening to this on audio, we'll put links to this as well on our Facebook site as well as the website. This is such a fun interview, and we hope to have Marty back on the show in the future. So enjoy the interview with Marti Matulis. Welcome back to the 501st Legion Holiday of Hope Telethon. My name is Rob Williams. I'm a member and the PR officer of the Outer Rim Garrison of British Columbia, as well as a PR officer and executive officer of Falcon-based Rebel Legion. But I'm also the co-host of the Generation X-Wing podcast, a modern look at your retro lifestyle. I'm joined here by my co-host, Steve 3. Say hello, Steve.
Good morning, everybody. Steve 3 here. Recently interjected into the Los Angeles squad of the Southern California Garrison. Happy to be here.
Today, we are thrilled to be joined by the one and only Marti Matulis. Marty is a true chameleon in the industry, known for his incredible work in prosthetics and behind the mask. He was in numerous shows and movies, including Star Trek Picard, Evil, Westworld, Red One, and of course, most importantly to us, as the Nikto Pirate Vane in the Mandalorian and the newest series Skeleton Crew. Welcome to the telethon, Marty.
Good morning, Marty.
So happy to be here. Thank you very much for having me back in.
So first off, I got to ask you,
yeah.
How's the run up to the holidays treating you? You into the holidays? You more of the Krampus style? Like how you feeling so close to Christmas here?
I like to just not make a plan for anything and just be continually shocked at the date on the calendar. And then, I'm just in constant like in the now, like living like a dog in the moment. Where like, I have to go get a Christmas tree right now. Oh, we should decorate it like today. And then next thing you know, it's summer again.
Yeah, right. So is that done, Marty? Do you have the tree up already?
No. Oh, good. Thanks for the reminder. I gotta go grab that. No, we're doing that this weekend.
Do you have any traditions that typically around this time besides panicking?
No, I'm trying to, again, always playing catch up, trying to find the ornaments for the tree, trying to remember where I put my little light up Millennium Falcon or original ornament from decades past. The newest one that I found was I think it's a Finnish tradition of you exchange books on Christmas Eve and then sit around reading them and drinking hot cocoa and eating chocolate and reading.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
I love that idea. Quiet.
That is awesome.
And shared books. Like I love sharing books with people because that's also just a little more, that's like a level up of personal gift giving because it means something to you and you hope it means something to them and then you're sharing that. So I think may we all give and receive more books.
Books. Yeah, books are a rarity nowadays. Everything's on tablets and audio, right? So yeah.
It takes a little more warm up now to get into a book with the fragmented attention, but it's a good feeling once you get back into the rhythm of reading page after page.
Awesome.
I wanted to start right off the bat and talk about Skeleton Crew because first of all, I'm super enjoying this series. It's been so much fun. And I loved you in The Mandalorian. How you feeling after, there's been a lot of positive feedback so far with the series. How you feeling so far with it?
Well, I've been loving it. Had the good fortune to attend the premiere with a crowd and we watched the first three. So that really kind of set the tone. The enthusiasm in the theater was just palpable and like every joke was hitting, every fun edit point was really hitting well. And seeing the kids there, I mean, it's been 2 years. We've all been kind of sitting waiting for like 2 years. So enough time has passed that there's a little bit of distance so I can enjoy it more as a fan, which I always have been. But then also kind of reflecting back now with that little bit of historical time to remember what was going on in the day and, having a little more technical appraisal of what was happening and remembering which takes, seeing what they chose in editorial, so that it's a very complete, joyful experience. of a joyful show. You nailed it. It's fun, and they have that sense of wonder that I go for. Like, that's what hooked me originally in Star Wars, is that sense of wonder and adventure.
Right.
And you didn't know everything. Everything was kind of being presented, and you were in awe of that at the time. So I think that, fortunately, we have so much to watch and enjoy and read now from this wonderful galaxy. But there is something about that, kind of like being presented something fresh. And I think the show's kind of hitting that through the kids in the show that we get to kind of vicariously experience again.
I 100% agree. It's to me, it's almost like it doesn't matter if it's Star Wars or not at this point. There's such an interest, there's such a story, there's such an adventure that's going on. But the cool thing is it's now inside of a Star Wars galaxy. So it's absolutely incredible. I wasn't sure what we were going to get. And normally if I watch a movie, I have to watch it at least 3 times to really get this one. I can't stop watching it. I've got to be honest. I can't stop watching it because there's something new every time I watch it. And it takes me back to those days. It takes me back to the 80s adventures where everyone on set seems like they're having the best time ever making this movie or this show. And
we absolutely were. It was so much fun. Everyone was having a great time. I remember there was some internet rumblings about there was some trouble and difficulties and whatever. I didn't see it. Everyone was having a blast. I think, everyone involved kind of knows what they're involved in, and they're thrilled to be there.
Oh, it comes across.
Are you a child of the 80s or 90s?
I was born in 1970. And
nice.
When Star Wars came out, I was right in the pocket. I think it was 77, so 7 years old.
So I was 73, man. I'm right 72. There with you.
Yeah. We got Gen X right on the panel. This is awesome. I'm loving this. So I got to ask you, what is it about the 80s that you dug? Or kind of let me rephrase that question. Actually, I just kind of mentally blocked myself. But this is a real love letter to the 80s. What is it that you kind of, what does it remind you of movies past? I mean, everybody compares it to the Goonies, for example, but I feel there's more to it.
The hardest hit, the strongest one, but I think it's more capturing the feeling. I mean, they're pulling from so many different sources, but that kind of feeling that infused the movies that we love then was that kind of sense of adventure, was that kind of unlimited horizons where you could do anything and anything could happen. But that was coming from, I think, the 70s that we grew up in, where it was such a different world. I absolutely roared around town on my bike, and 100%. From the moment I could get out the door until I absolutely had to come home when the sun went down. And if there was something in the way, you would just take your bike and chuck it over and then crawl over and then continue on. So I think just kind of, that overarching sense of adventure that we had just by virtue of not having the internet and not having other types of distractions.
Right.
You were responsible for your own fun back then.
You created your adventure.
You absolutely did. You'd grab a friend, grab your reliable cohorts, and go hit it.
Snap some branches, make your own weapon, and off you go on your bike.
Tromping through the woods was job number one all summer long.
Oh, see, you're giving me tingles.
You used to tell me, you said many times, you being from England, you spend your time as a kid playing on the river or around Stonehenge.
Yeah. Well, just going into fields, just walking through numerous farmers' fields, going into a woodland, discovering something like a makeshift den you didn't know who was there before. I think this is what I love about the show, is because they almost put us into a typical life, and then they detached us from that life, and now we're in this adventure. And those 3 steps, and then look at who we meet. We meet these pirates. We meet this crazy group of nutty pirates out there, which is an adventure in its own. I absolutely love it.
I think that's the joy for the different strata of viewers for this show, because clearly I think the kids are the theme that we're all most overtly aware of, but then there's this pirate element that's layered on, which gives you an added sense of kind of danger and what's going to happen to these kids. But then for the adults who are more discerning, there's something pretty bizarre about Atten that I'm getting to witness now as a viewer. I had no clue what they were doing when we were shooting it, because we were just shooting the pirate stuff that we were in.
Right.
So there's this other level of intrigue that's on top. So they're building a really great adventure cake of a
So
show.
you are really kept in the dark about the story, about where it's
Yeah.
going, about what everyone else's storyline is. You're just given your thing. You go in, you do it, and that's it.
Yep.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the
largely
premiere
from that kind of protectiveness, of the product itself. They don't want anything getting out, so they don't give you anything extra.
Right. And the premiere for you was the first time you saw all of this laid out in its entirety with 3
Oh,
episodes.
yeah.
So it's a whole movie for you, basically 3 episodes.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
And in
2 years
Disneyland
on.
to boot. You're in the middle of Disneyland.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that was amazing. It was a great experience.
That's so cool.
What was something you got up to when you were a kid? We just heard Steve hanging around Stonehenge. I was wandering over the woods myself. And what about you? Is there any sort of fun things that you got involved in?
Well, early on, I was a Southern California kid, and then I moved halfway through my second grade year. Our family moved to a small town in South Dakota. I used to live in Custer, South Dakota, right in the middle of the Black Hills. So that was unlimited biking. We could bike across the town to the swimming pool. So it was either spending all day in the swimming pool or right up the hill was basically just forest. And it's somehow completely safe forest, no animals or other types of predators of any sort. You just spend the day in the forest coming up with anything, downed trees, digging out our own forts, branches were swords / lightsabers. We would find old dead stands of trees and just strip the branches off with our sticks. And yeah.
So for me, do you find that helps you doing what you do for a living? And obviously, creature actor majority of the time in makeup, in mask, all this stuff. Is that imagination that you got as a kid something that you rely on as an adult in a working industry where you have to bring this character to life? Do you think that helps you? That inventiveness, that escapism that you had as a kid?
I think that was definitely a contributing kind of foundational aspect to this approach. Like I wasn't such a theater kid, like I've got to perform in like plays or everything. I was an introverted, quiet kid, but I read a lot. I loved TV. I loved film, and I loved, making my own little things with my action figures and my spaceships and whatnot.
That's
so
cool.
When it came time to start exploring acting in school plays, I was mortified because of the introverted kid aspect. But that playful kid and kind of the technical brain who wanted to figure it out, that's what I really grabbed onto. Like it didn't come easily. I kept at it. And there was that component that I kind of fell into randomly of this creature suit work, played up every interest that I ever had was available to me there, because I could kind of like tuck myself away inside something else and really explore what that was. And more often than not, since the voice is created after the fact, it was left to me to come up with like the physicality. So getting to then come back on multiple episodes as multiple creatures, I got to explore that each time. So the niche that I developed was kind of like coming up with unique physicality for each creature.
And that's not easy. That's not easy to do. It's you're bringing something to life. You have to. I mean, to me, the character of Vane it has a lot of prosthetics. It has obviously a full face mask, has all of that gear you're wearing, but you have so much articulation to that face. And I think that's why I love that character, is you can bring him to life. You can really get into it. How did you, with all the other stuff you've done? I mean, did you find this was a blessing for you? Because there's so many creature actors out there that bring these characters to life for us, but they can't do a lot with it. And it's I mean, like with the mask Rob's got behind him, for example, we're all used to wearing these big, masks, but you've got so much articulation in that character to bring to life. It's really cool. Did you find that a blessing?
Absolutely a blessing. And I credit the sculptors and the fabricators of Vane, and as they were designing it, obviously they're aware from a design standpoint what the limitations might be and how to optimize my ability inside. And then by virtue of having 20 plus years of experience trying to puppeteer from inside of something that could be challenging. Yeah, I was trying to think of like a better way to say, you are bringing a life to this thing, that they've conceived, and then it's up to me to kind of like follow through on that. So The eyes were what I had the most control over. They sculpted very wide around the eyes, so I knew that was going to be the bulk of my work. If he's going to have an attitude, is going to be voice or eye expression. Right. The brows are obviously quite thick, but they did separate them so I could get a little independent suspension. Right. The nose, obviously very built out to hide my beak, which means then the lips are also very built out, so there's not a whole lot of mouth movement. So yeah, my approach in the makeup chair has always been spend that time seeing what I can do. And so if I get to see the design process early on, that's great. If I get to have some like test makeups, even better. But more often than not, because of the pace of things or the secrecy level, once I'm in the chair, that's when I get to start quickly putting together what I've built so far on the character and then applying it to the specific makeup. Which in Vane's case, again, like it was a treat because he was fun. That design, what I was able to do, obviously side eye was going to be big for Vane. And then as you mentioned, like his kit is hefty. I'm wearing significant upholstery and very large engineer boots with thick soles, which immediately informed how he moved. So yeah, other than coming up with the voice, the rest of it was largely done by the design process of makeup and the costume.
I want to get back to the costume in a sec here, but I want to ask a selfish question. Okay.
No,
Steve
none
knows
of that.
All right. Steve knows I'm going to ask this question because, like I'm a couple aliens for the 501st, and I really enjoy being behind a mask. I really enjoy kind of acting unlike who I normally am when I'm with the kids or I call them, I've got the Disney in me, the guests that come to the booth and stuff. But I'm just looking for some tips on what to do when costume, because I mean, I can't talk in the rees, and I have set dialogue for a nine nun. So what are some tips? This is a master class from Marti Matulis.
Wow.
What are some,
hey, Rob,
no pressure.
Yeah, you got to make a donation, Rob. You got to head to starlight.org/holiday of hope, and you got to make a donation now of a considerable amount.
This is a master class in promotion segues, sir. It's very good. But what are some tips for a rookie like me to kind of be in the moment and be a character, especially when you don't talk a lot, and try not to scare the kids?
Don't want to scare the kids. Right. Yeah. Well, your character starts from here and goes all the way down to the ground. So never feel like you're limited by the mask itself, even though that may be the least movable thing. Mm-hmm. I would say, bringing a physicality from head to toe that's in line with the character that you want to convey. So if you are a friendly, not scary alien pilot of some sort, you can come up with how you carry yourself. Like if you're wearing a wardrobe, maybe you want to be more expressive with your arms or be more contained, or full body physicality is the top tip of the day. Not feeling limited just because you're not able to express with your face.
Yeah, Rob, get animated. Come on.
I'll be a little more animated, just like I'm in a booth or something like that. All right, sounds good.
Go down to a used car dealership and study the
wacky, wavy, inflatable arm guy.
Done. Wacky, wavy.
You get tips anywhere.
I'm writing that down here. Okay, good. That's worth the money right there. Okay, well, I'll go back to the costume now. Again, 501st people love to analyze costumes. They love to look through every little piece. We got a friend, Terry Chu, who's actually been on the telethon, and watching Terry Chu just analyze these costumes, find the little hidden secrets there. I want to know, first of all, you have this awesome thing on your shoulder, which
Thank you. I've had to bring it up so many times because no one else has. Go on.
Yeah,
what did you notice on my shoulder?
I was saying this to Rob the other day. I'm like, I swear to God, he's wearing a hat, like a rebel trooper hat.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes, and very on display now in Skeleton Crew. When I'm walking over to kind of chase the credit around the table after I've said hello to the two kids, and I'm standing there next to the crustacean. Right there. It's right there. Yeah, that was a little treat that when I went into the wardrobe for some of the early test fits, Shauna, delightful Shauna, came out and she said, "Hang on, I've got an idea." And she runs out, comes back in. She's like, "You know what this is?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a rebel helmet from Endor." She goes, now it's a shoulder pad.
Oh, so she literally pulled the armor ring
right
off.
there in front of me. Yeah, took the donut ring off. Said, "This is going to be your shoulder pad." Some kid in Ohio is going to figure this out in a few years.
Wow! So that was all from Shauna.
100%.
Oh,
yeah,
she
had. There was even more. I think they kind of like maybe didn't want him to be too cacophonous in his appearance. So there was one necklace piece that she had where she had strung in sand people mouth like breathers onto a string. Maybe it implies he's a little too murderous if he's got too many parts of things
of things and people.
Collection of teeth sort of idea.
Yeah, I think they went more kind of like the opportunist found object route than like murderous thug.
Now, do you have a backstory for this? Is there a backstory? Have you made one up, or are we going to have to challenge?
I believe that I have a backstory, and I believe that Vane has his own backstory because he does like to talk himself up a little bit. You know,
right?
He's a bit of a blowhard. You know, you get a drink in him, the stories are going to get longer and fishier as they go.
Definitely seems to like the spotchka.
Yeah.
Just don't drink at the schools.
Yes, over education, right?
Look, is it a school? I mean, there's probably something under a desk somewhere, and if I could just get in the door, kids move.
It actually, interestingly enough, is when I first noticed it. Is rewatching the episode in Mando is when I first noticed it, because I think they do a shot from behind with you when you're doing your face off.
Yes,
I think that's right. I think that's where I first noticed it.
Yeah.
And again, you know,
the ear pad, especially on that.
Just seeing your first appearance in Mando to me, it's one of the funnest episodes.
It was.
There was so much going on that episode for all the characters, and we got to see so much in that episode. So for me, it's one I watch regularly. So, you know, you've got one of the best episodes under your belt there too for this, the introduction of this character. But
and that was originally supposed to be it, and I was thrilled. If that was it, if that was going to be it, I was absolutely thrilled. Like an Old West shootout with Carl Weathers in Star Wars. Like I was over the moon. I was going to mention that.
So you were actually on set with Carl Weathers, absolute legend. I mean, we talked about two great people that we've lost since then. But how was that for you to work with a legend like Carl Weathers? You were standing
outstanding. It was outstanding. He, you know, in 20 plus years, largely because I'm in these creature suit things, I also have kind of a bit of a remove. You know, I'm a little bit of an observer as things are going on around me because I can't do much and I need to kind of preserve their art between action and cut. So I just kind of sit back and maintain myself and watch. So a little bit of that was happening here as well, but Carl made an absolute point to come to my trailer when I first arrived to run lines. He just wanted to start working on the scene, and he didn't know me from anyone, and you know, he treated me absolutely as an equal for the day, because in the scene, that's it. We just need to convey what we need to convey. So
that's amazing.
All day long, he would, anytime we had a break, I would hear him say, "Hey Marty," and we'd go sit and work on lines. At lunch, he sought me out. I don't eat a lot during the day because, again, I'm trying to keep the touch-ups to a minimum, keep the makeup looking great. Mm-hmm. So I'll sip my smoothie and go find a bench somewhere and sit. And I was like, well, I'm on a Star Wars set. I'm not going anywhere. So I found a bench in that courtyard in Navarro, and I was just looking at the IG statue and kind of taking it all in, assuming that was going to be my day. And Carl comes over and he sits down, and he was regaling me with stories about his early days in Hollywood and a little bit of career advice. I think maybe thinking I was a young up and comer or whatever. And it was delightful. He was a really beautiful collaborative artist and craftsperson as well. And
you just imagine somebody with that status and legendary status within Hollywood that would just be in his own trailer doing his own thing. And I have heard that from a couple of people that have said the same thing, is he wants to get to know the person behind the mask, or he wants to get to know the person that he's going to be in the scene with. He really wants to. I mean, I guess that's the director in him too, right? You need to,
for sure. Yeah. I think and that's the best kind of person you want to work with as an actor, who has that kind of wider view. It's not about them and their character and how can I look the best. You're going to look horrible if you think that way. And then obviously so much else is going on that if you can elevate every aspect that you have some amount of control over, that is kind of that directorial sense. But anyone on set should be in that position where you're hired for your skill set, but because you are a cinephile, hopefully as an actor, you also understand lighting. You also may understand something of editing. you might understand like, oh, like, I mean, I've been shooting and editing for years. So every time I walked on set, I would talk to the DP and say, hey, what lens are you on today? And then, you know, for some of the jobs that I've done that on, they kind of look at me like, what are you doing asking about mine? But a few of them have been like, oh, because now you know. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm on an 85. I'm like, okay, great. I will tone it to an 85, you know? So, yeah, Carl was absolutely superb at that. And
amazing.
Would love to have seen more directing from that man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. May you rest in peace.
Yes.
What were the differences between filming on Mando compared to Skeleton Crew?
Primary difference is location. I mean, we were Navarro set for the 2 days I was on Mando. And I think the bulk of what we did on Skeleton Crew was the volume. There were a couple of the sets that episode 1, the breaching scene in the tube, and then also in the vault. Those were built sets. And then, yeah, again, 2 years ago, I'm trying to remember, but most of it was in that bizarre area for what was it, Port Borga?
Yeah.
Beautiful volume work. I think the guys understood also how to maximize the technology by long lensing it, by padding out the floor, padding out the same type of materials in the volume, so it looks about as seamless as I've seen it.
It's incredible. Yeah, you get to feel you're in this huge expanse. It's amazing work. Absolutely
delightful to be on. I was hoping on Mando to be able to see the volume, and I got to peek my head inside the door just to look at it because I'm a tech fiend anyway. So yeah, again, as I did on Mando, anytime I wasn't working, I was just trying not to go get tucked back into a room and sit and twiddle my thumb.
You want to go exploring.
Yeah. There were a couple of frantic searches a couple times on walkies, like trying to track down. I'm just sitting on a box out there,
staring at the technology.
Someone also said that. They're like, I was watching you on camera. When you're not acting, you're just looking up at the ceiling. It's like, yes, I am, and we'll continue. Yeah, thank you.
It kind of relates to your YouTube channel. I wanted to mention this because I really enjoy it. I subscribe, and there's one video that you did besides the Skeleton Crew Lego one, which is really cool. I mean, in your intro of the video, you do talk about how you're really into the process of filmmaking, and the one with water where you get this old pizza oven, and not old, I should say, returned pizza oven, and you just clean it. And then you make your own pizza, and you're out in I'm assuming you're out in the woods somewhere in Oregon or something like that. But it was just it was so fun just to watch. What kind of got you into sort of like going back onto YouTube and just creating these videos on your own, but also just the whole filmmaking process?
Well, initially, thank you for liking and subscribing and like and subscribe. Yeah, YouTube and I have had a weird relationship. I've thought for years and years and years. I'm like, well, if I'm going to move to Oregon and I'm an actor and I'm a photographer, I should do something with the YouTube. But then the YouTube just kept doing its own thing. And I was like, well, that's great. And I can just watch stuff and try to figure out what I want to do. But, that's a vicious circle and a bad loop to get in if you're trying to like prepare all the time and you don't actually. So, yeah, I've been a photographer. I've filmed. I used to work for Motor Trend. I did their videos for a couple of years back in the real internet days of just filming stuff, making little cool videos. Worked for KCRW in Santa Monica for a number of years. I started their video component of Morning Becomes Eclectic. So there's always been kind of this video photography editing love, which I've dovetailed directly into my absolute joy and love of cinematic expression and storytelling. So yeah, I don't know if I'm answering one or two of the questions, but that joy and that love is infusing what I'm also now just trying to throw into YouTube and trying to figure out, like, I've got hard drive after hard drive of footage. I'm always taking my camera with me when I go out into the forest. So yeah, there's going to be more. I don't know how regular, because that's also something I refuse to commit to. No weekly vlogging videos, but
it's a challenge just to put content out there, especially when you're so busy doing what you do.
And I don't just want it to be kind of casual vloggy. Hey, look at me. I'm going to tell you about myself. Aren't I great? But sharing interests that we can all kind of find some joy in watching. And, I'm a little bit older, so I like the kind of slower paced, contemplative, cinematic style filming.
Yeah, just
we'll see where it goes.
You're very nature based, I feel. Like there's the films of water and dogs and just doing what they naturally do. But I mean, I gotta say, I love that van that you have. It's like the way it's set up. It's so gorgeous. Like, what? It's a Sprinter van.
It is a Sprinter van.
Yeah.
The short story on that was when I was conceiving of maybe basing in the Pacific Northwest. I'd lived in LA for 14 years, and I felt like 14 was plenty. I enjoyed my time there. I had wonderful friendships and working relationships built there, but I wanted to kind of change my quality of life at the time. And so I kind of weighed it out. I was like, well, I can either just go up and see what happens and drive my car back and forth or fly, or I could sell some stuff. I don't know if you know, jobbing actors aren't exactly like swimming in it. But I did the math on a completely stripped out Sprinter van was not much different than like a well-appointed pickup truck at that time. They hadn't gone, it was pre-COVID, they hadn't gone through the roof, and I wasn't getting a built RV. Those things are nuts. They're like the cost of a house these days. So yeah, I ended up picking up a traded rent for a car payment on a stripped out cargo van that over some years, I applied my meager woodworking skills to building it up. So I'm on my second or third kitchen galley set up, and I've got like a little work area where I can edit videos and a place to sleep and a place to hang out. So
that's cool.
My adventure mobile. And a few times I've taken it to gigs. I drove it across to New York for Evil a couple times. And then, I think as Star Wars conventions start to become a thing more, if I can drive to the Western United States, I'll just drive and I'll have my little spot already set up.
So that's a good point. Actually, you talk about conventions. So obviously you've done the con circuit, you're doing more appearances, and I'm 100% sure you're going to be doing more and more as time goes on. How is that for you? Because obviously in the 501st, we'll do conventions, we'll set up a booth, we'll have everyone come in, they get their pictures taken. So it's not quite the same as being somebody that's out on the screen, but we're representing characters that are there and really enjoy it. How do you enjoy the con circuit? When did you get involved with the con circuit? Is it something you can see yourself continuing to do? And how do you find the interactions with the fans? I mean, do you enjoy the con circuit is what I would say on that one.
I do. I had to kind of crack the code on it as a aforementioned introvert. There's an energetic toll from that many people all focused and like attentive, and I just want to kind of hide and go play with a puppy, go be outside the forest, because that's what charges me up. It took a little bit of doing initially to figure out how to kind of manage my own energy, and one of the key things was I realized that everyone who comes to these things, they're excited about the same thing. And more often than not, if there's this person behind the table, you're just looking to make a connection to the thing. It's not really about me. It's not really even about Vane so much. It's about this love of Star Wars. And most people want to tell you a story about why they love Star Wars, or what they love about Star Wars, or if they think, why aren't you Hondo? Anything could come up.
That's a great question.
Get into that. I love this character, by the way. So yeah, it took a little bit of training wheels, and fortunately, because I was only in the 2 episodes, it was around that period of time where there was some interest in having Vane represented at a convention. So I got to kind of see how it works, and I loved it.
That's cool.
Once I figured it out, it was great, and I'm hoping that this skeleton crew will allow some more opportunity this year.
I can't imagine that would not be the case. I can imagine you're going to be pretty busy in the upcoming convention circuit.
It's fun. It's just you're sharing your love of this world, and that's a joy.
So good. I do have to roll back there, Rob, and hopefully I'm not going to cut you off on this, but I have a nagging problem for me right now. Is I am trying to piece together the timeline. So on Navarro, when we see you heroically flee.
Thanks for seeing it that way. I mean, those other dummies.
So I'm trying to figure out, and you may better help me out here. I'm not sure. What is the timeline here? Is Navarro? Is the Navarro event in Mandalorian a pre what we're seeing in Skeleton Crew, or is it a after what we're seeing in Skeleton Crew? So in my mind, when did you become this close with the Pirate King?
Right. I'll tell you what, nothing was ever confirmed. Nothing was ever said to me. So I have no official word. But as Marty the actor trying to come up with something to grab onto. I simply took it as literally as he flew off from there. He's landed over here somehow, and he's in this new crew. Why he's already shoulder to shoulder with the Pirate King. He's just a smooth talker, I guess.
Yeah.
A smooth talker.
Yeah, you can see that. You can see that. And we mentioned Hondo earlier, and I do feel a very Hondo-esque character with the heroic fleeing, because that's what we know about Hondo is he'll always set himself up to try and gain something, and if it doesn't go right, he's like, I'm out of here. See you later, guys. I'll see you on the next one. So I definitely
charming
see an
opportunist.
Yes, it would be interesting. My mind, if I'm allowed to say, because we're all guessing here because we don't know, my mind was the other way around. My mind was that Skeleton Crew is maybe before Mando, and the antics you're going to get up to in Skeleton Crew is going to give you the opportunity to hang out with the Pirate King. So I don't know. That's where my head's going.
Yeah. I mean, I think it can play until the boys give us a definitive indication as to which way they're going. I don't know if it's going to read as we go on, but the internal arc that I was giving Vane for the Skeleton Crew was that he just landed there. He's kind of finding his way up, like in that tube, the breach. In the first episode, I am in there. I'm literally hiding behind someone else who's shorter than me. I was using him as a shield.
Sounds very Vane-like.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to get taken down in a tube. Come on, get rich.
He's the kind of character I can imagine go, no, you go. This is your opportunity. Yeah. You go. Yeah, go.
You should totally go out that door first. See what's out there.
Yeah.
So even in the and then when the vault is revealed to have nothing in it, and we kind of turn on Silvo, it almost plays. I'm a little delayed on the gun raise to him because I was actually kind of looking around to gauge what everyone else was going to do.
Is this what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, fine.
What's the majority here? The majority wins every time, right? Who am I going with?
Yeah. So along those lines, I think again, Vane he's a secondary fellow, but if you can track anything with him, he's on the rise as much as he's able in his just smart enough styling.
No, I love it. I wanted to ask a question. I know Steve's wanted to ask this for you. You have a Lego character, but Steve, you have something else there.
Yeah,
say it one more time.
In fact, do you have one or two Lego minifigs? Is it two kits?
They packed two, and it is both Vane. One is in a pilot suit,
right?
Which I never wore, but that's cool. There's two, but then there's one in him in his pirate garb with sword,
which is awesome, right? There's nothing better than having your own minifig. Now, I'm a big collector of.
Van and me was over the moon when I heard that they were releasing that.
Right. I mean, who wouldn't want that, right? Yeah. But there is a line, I don't know if you've heard of this line called Micro Galaxy Squadrons. And Micro Galaxy Squadron produced mini craft. Yeah. And I didn't know if you knew that Vane...
My Amazon order was canceled. They canceled.
Really?
They were, I heard about
it. Marty, you've got to get this. This is your snub fighter from Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And you have your own...
Look at that little guy. Look at him. Isn't he cute?
And it even has the hat on the shoulder.
I was going to ask that.
Really?
You can even in this detail, this tiny little detail, they've even got that in there. So I mean,
my hope of hopes is that the Black Series is just delayed because of the amount of detail in some of the pirates' costuming.
They're going to have to build a whole new mold for that one. You can't repaint Vane.
There's a lot going on there.
I'm hoping Jazzwares get you one of these craft. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't sent you one, but you've got to get your hands on a snub fighter. And if I get another one, it's yours because there's nothing better than seeing yourself represented in a toy hanging on a peg in the shelf. So I just wondered if you've seen that.
Yeah, I had seen it. I was aware. I did a little bit of searching. I found that they were kind of hard to find, so I did put in an order just through Amazon or Amazon UK, and it hung for a while, and they said, "Oh, there's a delay," and then there was another delay, and then they're like, "Guess what? Canceled."
That's not good.
Someday.
I gotta see if I can find this.
Yeah, the weirdest part of this I do have to mention is I recognize that there's a very easily one might say a very egotistical actor aspect to wanting to see yourself in these little things. There's a 5-year-old kid aspect that's dying because now the thing that I got to play of their character, I recognize he's their character, but the fact that I was inside him, I got to play him, and then that was a toy. It's 5-year-old joy 100%.
Yeah. The dream of being a canon character and just being some small part of this universe.
Yeah.
And
Wikipedia entry. Who'd have thought?
Yes.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah. Oh my, super jealous. It's awesome.
It starts with Lego. It goes to Micro Galaxy, and who knows? One day, Hot Toys, Vane, multi-articulated. Oh yeah.
I'm so very hopeful.
I'm excited for you. You can tell.
There'll have to be like a stop motion YouTube video at that point.
Do they tell you in advance if you have a character or an action figure or anything like that, or you just find out by sheer luck?
I just snoop around.
Yeah. After
the fact, I am with everyone else, just trying to seek out information through the internets, through the nooks and the crannies of the World Wide Web. I did expect that there would be something. I just didn't know based on how short of a time he was in the Mandalorian, or how popular he may or may not be. Because again, not Hondo. But they scanned me. So when you go in, obviously you're also, as I said, it's not my face, it's their face. So they're collecting all of their assets. So when the makeup was at its best and the costume was all snappy, after we shot some of the dog fighting scene, I think that was the day we went into the big roundy round to get all the 3D assets secured.
And again, another great scene through the asteroid belt. That was such a fun scene to watch.
My involvement completely separate. Great scene. Yeah. I think Empire has the near and dear to my heart status of all-time great. But that was a really legit scene in the space battle. The score when he starts picking us off.
Oh yeah.
And the final, he rises up. And, it was great. I'm going to go watch that. I'll be right back.
So did you have your own cockpit, Marty? Or did they set you up in a cockpit for that?
We had one cockpit on a platform in a blue or green screen surround, and got to watch a little bit of previs, so kind of knew what they were aiming for. It had been a while, so we also watched back. That was the first time I got to see any footage. We watched back a little bit of the shootout scene, so I could grab the voice again, because I think it was a little too posh when I came back for the fight. So we dialed him in, and part of me was like, can we play that again? I need to see it, make sure I'm really doing this right. And I was just going, I can't tell anybody about this.
And that was all in the volume, correct?
For the fight, it was not. We were in a stage.
Okay.
There was no volume. They did all that extra after the fact. So it was also that kind of like, I'm in a cockpit, I can't see anything, and I'm moving these handles that they just drilled to the floor. My enthusiasm got the better of me, and I was like whipping the thing, and they're like, yeah, just do it a little slower, pretend it's a bigger ship. And in my mind, I'm like, well, I know it's going to be a fast ship, but I think for the sake of editorial, they want some distinct moves. So here, another tip: if you're flying on a blue screen in a spaceship, give them distinct movements so they can choose what to use in the editorial.
Not like in the A-Team where they would always be doing this with the steering wheel as they would drive.
Dukes of Hazzard, A-Team driving.
Yeah, perfect.
Kids watching at home, those were callback references to the 1980s television programs where you would click a channel and decide which show you were going to watch, Dukes of Hazzard or The Incredible Hulk or the A-Team.
You couldn't watch two at the same time.
The teacher.
Because it was difficult. Sometimes there were difficult choices to be made. When
you had to wait a whole week.
Tino's pizza.
Oh, yummy. I have a rapid fire selection of questions I want to get through if you're up for it. So basically how this works is I'm going to go, I got about 10 questions, and you got to give me just the first answer that comes to your mind. Don't spend a lot of time thinking about it, just whenever naturally comes through. Does that make sense?
What could possibly go wrong? Let's do that.
Nothing at all.
Can I just do one more plug though before you start?
Yes,
I'd like to get another plug in for starlight.com/holiday of hope. Get in there, get donating. The donations are going to be collected all the way through today and beyond. So don't hesitate. Give what you can. That's why we're here. So
absolutely.
If you get
absolutely beautiful, worthwhile cause, if you go do it directly. I also put a little thing through my Instagram channel to extend that, just as a way I could help contribute as well. So
scan the QR codes, people. We're making it as easy as possible for you, and that's why we're here. Having fun, bringing awareness. Get to starlight.org. Okay, continue.
Thank you, Steve. Awesome. All right, first question. Are you ready, sir?
Ready.
Why aren't you Hondo? I'm just kidding. Besides
Vane's just going to pull his mask off.
Was me along. Besides Nicto, what's your favorite Star Wars alien species?
Ooh. What is Bosk's species? The lizard?
Trandoshan.
Trandoshan's
Nice.
cool.
A Bosk, yeah. I know you love getting out to nature. What is your dream hike?
Dream hike. Ooh, I'm going to say North Cascades in Washington. Epic.
Nice.
Epic.
I will backtrack after this. I want to talk a bit about the hike. AT-AT or AT-AT?
Child of the 70s. I mean, it was an AT-AT, but we all know what it stood for.
All right.
Transport.
Favorite thing about the 80s?
Steven Spielberg.
Oh, that's lovely. Favorite thing to do in the makeup chair?
Stare at myself.
Seriously?
Expand on that too.
No, that's it.
Okay.
First answer. We can only take the first answer.
Oh, you're serious. Okay. Something you learned while working in the TV movie industry?
Be quiet and pay attention.
Oh, I wish my students would listen to that one. Favorite tune to play on the trombone? I know you play the trombone. I'm a big trombone player myself.
Rob McConnell of the Boss Brass, The Waltz I Blew for You has some ridiculously difficult trombone lines.
Nice. Favorite Star Wars sound in the Star Wars series?
It's a combination, but it's inside some of the Millennium Falcon wind-ups and wind-downs. There's like a engine that I can't stop listening to. I'm a sound effects nerd as well. Ask Matthew Wood. I harass him on text. I'm like, hey, what's that sound? I just listened to it. And does it have a name?
Oh, yes. Perfect. I love that. It's a great sound. Favorite side dish at a Christmas dinner?
Peas.
Peas?
I love peas. Peas get a bad rap.
Love
those peas. You can smash them. You can try to chase them around your plate.
Wow.
Mushy peas.
Mushy
there
peas.
You go. Speaking
Fish and
Steve's
chips.
language.
Yeah.
Favorite Star Wars toy you owned as a kid?
Plastic Millennium Falcon. I took pencil lead and weathered it myself.
Oh, nice.
The original Kenner, the one with the fold down front. You could,
yeah. I used it and abused it and loved it.
Do you still have it?
No, when I moved at one point, I actually decided that I knew that there was a kid who was with the family that bought our house, and I left it in my closet.
Wow. You are a saint.
That is so nice.
Thought about tracking that kid down and stealing it back.
May get it back. Final question. Favorite droid in the Star Wars universe?
70s kid, man. R2. I got his humor. I loved his jokes. It was a funny one.
Have you transitioned into Chopper? Because the jokes are a lot more edgy.
I do. He's a little too out there. Like, I like him, but, at some point, if you're at a party, you might want to
tone it down a bit.
All right.
Yeah.
We get it, buddy. No,
I wanted to go back a little bit to the makeup chair question. Obviously, being behind so many prosthetics over the years. I mean, I just recently saw you in Red One as this weird bird-like character. It was so cool.
It's hilarious.
But what's the difference between doing something for a Disney production compared to something that's a little more smaller? Is it what do you notice is different about those two worlds?
Really, not much difference in the process. The quality of the pieces is always just off the charts these days. There's kind of like a back and forth between what it's a foam latex or silicone. So people usually use either depending on what the project is. I've worked with Joel Harlow quite a lot over the past 10 years. And he and his team are just top of the game. So it's about the same for me in the chair. So whatever it is, I know it's going to be amazing. If it's thin silicone, as an actor, I'm in my happiest of happy places because I know that that's going to, anything, as I just did, without even thinking about it, for my eyebrow arches, it's going to read.
Right.
Thin silicone, highly detailed thin silicone is like the best. But yeah, as to your question, I think Star Wars, whether it's TV, whether it's something big budget, low budget, I think that because most of these makeup artists run from job to job, shop to shop, you're getting the same type of quality in anything you do. And as an actor in the chair who appreciates that, but never had that like sculpting, designing thing that I didn't develop, I went the other route with performance. It's an opportunity for me to sit and really appreciate someone else's artistry for 1 to 6 hours as it's being applied in the chair. So I get to both witness that and then also start practicing it. Once things are glued on, then I get to start doing my work.
How do you keep from getting claustrophobic in masks and latex and stuff?
Just lucky. One of the first time I ever had a head cast done was back on Star Trek Insurrection. Was that the one with the Remans? It was Nemesis and Insurrection. Nemesis. That was the Tom Hardy Reman Warrior ones.
Okay.
So yeah, you're getting coated with, back in the day it was alginate, now it's silicone, but you get fully covered in this material so they can get all the details of your face to do the sculpt. And then you're wrapped in plaster bandages, which could be claustrophobic for some people. For me, as they start to warm up, I just start to kind of like get sleepy. Just happen to be one of those guys who just doesn't feel claustrophobic in those things. I know it's a real deal for a lot of people though.
It's a different experience, man, especially when it starts setting. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And how long do you stay in it once it's on? I mean, obviously it's a big process to get it in there, to get it right. Do you stay in it all day? Like, is there any breaks?
There's no breaks. Sometimes you can get out of the suit. Typically, if there's a bodysuit, like in Red 1, the Vulture suit, there's usually some sort of a hidden snap or zipper system that if you need to get out, you can get out. But for the most part, if you're glued in, you are glued in. So anywhere from 6 to 16 hours, depending on the day.
Hence the smoothies.
Oh, yeah. Eat light.
We've got to wrap it up. We've got to wrap it up here, unfortunately.
Oh, come on, man. There's so much more to do.
I'm sorry.
Side channel,
we have so many. I'd be totally into it, but unfortunately, we have a whole telethon to go through. Marty, thank you so much for talking to us and helping out with the telethon. Tell people where we can find you.
Well, there's an active Instagram and there's a semi-active YouTube channel, both with my names, Marti Matulis, Marty with an I. The YouTube will be growing. I feel like that's something else to focus on a little more because it lets me express my creativity.
Awesome.
And anyone that goes to see Marty in the upcoming con circuit, make sure you take a Micro Galaxy Squadron version of his character and craft.
Yes. And let's dangle it.
And let's inundate it. Let's inundate him with them.
You're going to get 20 of them now, sir.
Love it.
That's awesome. As for us,
thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. That was great.
Thanks for tuning in. We are the Generation X-Wing podcast, by the way. You can find us on Instagram, Instagram, Facebook, and our own YouTube show. And come say hello. But first and foremost, 501st Legion. And Steve, you want to take it from here on about charity?
Starlight. We're all here for the Starlight Foundation. Take the time. Donate what you can. Anything helps. Go to starlight.org. Not .com, starlight.org/Holiday of Hope, and please donate. Help an amazing cause, and keep this going.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. Marty, thank you again. We're looking forward to seeing some more of Vane out there.
Thanks for
absolutely. Thank you,
Marty. The cause here today. I really appreciate that as well.
All right,
thank you.
We hope you enjoyed that interview with Marti Matulis. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening or watching. If you're on YouTube, please give us a like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. And if you're listening to this on audio, please subscribe wherever you're listening to this. And head to the YouTube channel as well to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next episode. Bye.